The rain fell like a curtain over the small town of Willow Creek. The roads were empty, the shops were closed, and everyone had rushed inside their homes to escape the cold storm. Everyone except one man. An old man walked slowly through the rain with a torn coat, worn-out shoes, and a small bag in his hand. His face was covered with wrinkles, and his eyes carried a sadness that seemed far older than his age. To anyone who looked at him, he was just another homeless stranger with nowhere to go. But that was exactly what he wanted everyone to believe. His real name was William Harrison, one of the richest businessmen in the country. He owned huge companies, luxury hotels, and properties worth billions of dollars. Yet despite all his money, William had one thing he could never buy: trust. Years earlier, his wife had passed away, and after her death, his own relatives began fighting over his wealth. Friends who once called him family only visited him when they needed a favor. Business partners smiled in front of him but secretly planned to take advantage of him. The man who had everything had slowly begun to believe that kindness no longer existed. So he created a secret test. Disguised as a poor traveler, he would visit different towns and ask strangers for help. He didn't offer money. He didn't reveal his identity. He simply wanted to know one thing. Would anyone still help a person who had nothing to offer in return? For months, his answer was disappointing. People closed their doors. Some insulted him. Others looked at his dirty clothes and acted as if he wasn't even human. That night, after being rejected by several houses, William arrived at the oldest home on the edge of Willow Creek. The house was small. The paint was fading, the roof had been repaired many times, and the garden outside had dried up. But a warm light shone through the window. With no expectations left, William knocked on the door. A woman named Sarah opened it. She looked tired from a long day of work, but her eyes were full of kindness. "Yes?" she asked gently. William lowered his head. "I'm sorry to disturb you. I've been walking all day. I have no money, no food, and nowhere to sleep. Could I stay here just for one night?" Sarah hesitated. Not because she didn't want to help. Because she knew her family barely had enough for themselves. Her husband Daniel had lost his job months ago. Their daughter Lily needed money for school, and they were already behind on their rent. But Sarah looked at the old man shaking in the cold and made her decision. "Please come in," she said. "No one deserves to be outside on a night like this." The old man stepped inside. The warmth of that tiny house touched him more than the luxury of his giant mansion ever had. Little did the Carter family know that their simple act of kindness had begun a journey that would reveal secrets buried for more than 20 years, and change all their lives forever. Chapter 2, A Secret Hidden in the Past. William spent the evening with the family. They shared their small meal with him, laughed together, and treated him like a respected guest. But while looking around the house, William noticed something that made his heart stop. A photograph on the wall. It showed Sarah as a young girl standing beside her father. The moment William saw the man in the picture, his face turned pale. His hands began to shake. It was Michael Carter. The man who had saved William's life 25 years ago. Back then, William was not rich. He was a struggling young businessman whose company was about to collapse. One night, after a terrible accident on a lonely road, William had been trapped inside his burning car. Many cars passed by, afraid to stop. But one man ran into the flames without thinking about his own safety. Michael Carter. He saved William's life but was badly injured in the process. William had searched for him afterward to thank him and repay his kindness. But Michael had disappeared without leaving any address. For 25 years, William carried the guilt of never being able to thank the man who saved him. And now, standing in this tiny house, he realized something unbelievable. The family he had come to test was the family of the man who once saved his own life. It was not an accident. It felt like destiny. Chapter 3, The Pain They Never Spoke About. The next morning, William asked Sarah about the photograph. Her smile faded. "That's my father," she said quietly. "He passed away when I was young." William lowered his head. "He was a brave man." Sarah looked surprised. "You knew him?" William stayed silent for a moment. Then he nodded. "He once saved someone's life." Tears filled Sarah's eyes. "My father always told me something before he died." "What was it?" William asked. "He said, never measure your wealth by what you own. Measure it by what you are willing to give away." Those words broke William's heart. It was exactly the kind of lesson he had been searching for all his life. That afternoon, William secretly learned the truth about the family's situation. The bank was preparing to take their house. Daniel had been hiding his illness because he didn't want his family to spend money on his treatment. Lily was planning to leave school and start working to help her parents. Yet despite all this pain, they had given their last meal to a stranger. William could no longer keep his identity hidden. Chapter 4: The Greatest Surprise of Their Lives. That evening, several black luxury cars stopped outside the small house. The family became frightened. Men in expensive suits walked toward the door. Sarah thought they were there to remove them from their home. But then they opened the car door. The old man stepped out wearing a perfectly tailored suit. The family froze. "Mr. William?" Daniel whispered. William smiled. "No," he replied. "Not the poor traveler you met." He handed Sarah a folder. Inside were documents showing that their debt had been completely paid. Their house belonged to them forever. But that was only the beginning. William revealed the truth about her father. "Your father gave me my life," he said. "And yesterday, without knowing who I was, his family gave me back my faith in humanity." Tears streamed down Sarah's face. "My father always believed that kindness returns one day." William nodded. He was right. Chapter 5: The Final Gift No One Expected. Months passed. William didn't just give the family money. He gave Daniel a position managing one of his companies. He paid for Lily's education so she could become the doctor she dreamed of being. He helped Sarah open the bakery she had always wanted. But the greatest gift came 1 year later. At a ceremony opening a new charity foundation, William made a surprising announcement. He stood before hundreds of people and said, "Everything I built came from a second chance given to me by one man." He revealed the name of the foundation. The Michael Carter Foundation, a place dedicated to helping families who show kindness even when they have nothing. The crowd applauded. Sarah looked at the sky with tears in her eyes. Her father had been gone for years. But his kindness had continued to change lives. William walked over to her and said, "Money can build houses, buy cars, and create businesses. But only kindness can leave a legacy that never dies." From that day forward, the poor family who gave away their last meal was never poor again. Not because they became wealthy, but because the world finally discovered the richness that had always lived inside their hearts. The end.